It's an open forum. We basically are able to exchange on any questions that we may have, share as well any knowledge that we would have gained through the use of NowSite, so we can all benefit. To keep it organized, I ask that we raise our hand, take turns, and we can ask questions openly. I have also Robert that is always assisting me with the questions in the chat. So I will be also putting links in the description in the chat for where to find the content that follows after these exchange that we're having. Good for everybody? Perfect. So I'm pretty sure you must have a lot of questions for me over the week since we haven't gotten to talk. And on the last time we had this conversation, we went over a workflow that most likely would have gotten a lot of you in the cycle of keeping busy, right? Or at least experimenting on a regular basis. So, yeah, Robert.
Well, you definitely kept me busy because I went and I reconstructed my entire website.
That is because there's value in that, right? You
Yeah.
have everything that we're doing now will lead to these conversion assets, our websites, our conversation, and making it simple for the audience is success for us, right? So, questions: have you reviewed the content? Anybody wants to share as well what they've done? There has to be questions, or at least share because you guys been busy. Huh? So anything? Or I'm gonna start calling you out. Well, I'm gonna call at the count of three. One, two, three. There you go. I'll just save the day for everybody, but I'm still gonna count after. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Well,
Virgil. Welcome back. We missed you
Thank
dearly.
you.
Absolutely. You have me on this whole new trajectory. I did go in and actually started making websites for different areas of my business, which I see a huge value there. I'm still in the process of doing that. I adopted your recommendation that if I'm part time, I should at least be uh, touching 4 prospects a day. And that's my new mantra to start. I have been doing that. I am actually gaining some successes, and people are responding, which is incredible. I actually had a third thing I wanted to mention, and it has slipped my mind. So I'll let the next person take over and I'll ask as soon as it comes back. Thank you so much.
thank you for the share. So that is important, that rhythm, finding our rhythm into this exercise, starting with four, if that's the weight that we can bear, right? And slowly we get the appetite for more. Right? That is basically a natural inclination of this business or this environment. If you go out there in the world, start talking to people, at one point it's hard to sit at home, not trying to engage, right? And when you see results, that is the confirmation that we're reaching, right? Go ahead, Vicky.
Well, I missed the whole recording of
Mhm.
what happened, and I was completely lost. And then you were gone. And can you give me the link so that I can read about everything that's going on? Because I had some personal issues that I was dealing with also. And I know this was a complete revamp of some things, and I don't want to be out of the loop.
Okay, absolutely. It was not necessarily a revamp, but just a realignment of the different tools that you have to use. So here in the how-to newsletter, I'll put that in the chat as well for everybody. So that's great, so that we can do some navigation on that. So you will notice that I added a My AI setup for those who are new. I always recommend, even for those who feel like they are old, go over this setup because it allows to anchor that conversation if we are to present that tool. Okay. What you're looking for, Vicky, is here, right? I added a little bit more context to these video sessions so you can see basically what we are discussing and the follow through. So what we covered last time was mainly it started on the part one, right? And I did a full workflow of how we should be technically using the tool, which basically prompted Robert to go back and revisit the marketing assets, the conversation on it, and Audrey. Because the idea is that if you're properly using NowSite in all its aspect, you are engaging on social media at the beginning of the day with these marketing assets and these email strategy follow-up conversation that you have put in place, right? Once you're done doing that, you can also go back to the unlimited and get prospects. So all these are interchanging blocks that you should use one after the other to get that momentum, right? Very simply, last time, again, you will notice that as foundation, whenever you want to do something, you always want to start in this business or product profile. Go ahead, Lori. You have a question?
No, I have a comment. So
Go
after
ahead.
that meeting, what happened was
Mhm.
Tina Carver and I, she's on a plane right now going somewhere. But Tina Carver and I got on a Zoom and both of us redid all of our websites, deleted everything, deleted things we didn't use for years because we've both been using that site for years,
Mhm.
recreated messages. And then 3 different times during the week, we jump on a Zoom for a half an hour and we prospect.
I love it.
So she's on a plane right now. And tomorrow and the next day, we're going to jump on Zoom.
I love it. I love it. And this is another way of you helping each other build momentum, right? Beyond the fact that, yes, we had to go over again the process of outlining our conversation, simplifying our process for ourselves, right? But here there was new value, team value, right? So find your peers. And this is why this community is a good thing because we can start interacting with each other. We can look for each other on social media and engage. I've been getting a lot of friends requests and I've been accepting them. Nobody can denounce me. I'll go and follow up on the new ones after. So I'm honoring my word. You'll see what I talked about if you look at the previous conversation. So let's network. And this is again coming back at the center of everything that we left off on. The tool is helping us do the marketing. We have to do the networking, network marketing. We forget a lot about that word, that part of the activity, the fun part, going out there, meeting people, allowing ourselves to build upon our presentation or our art of communication to reach more, right? And this is where we're trying to find this rhythm, find people to connect. That's networking, right? 4 people per day. That's networking. For a post that may engage an audience, that's networking, right? So keep that part in mind. If you're not networking in this space now, you're not really using all the tools of marketing that you have available to you. Okay. And again, for those new to the space, always come in this business or product profile because from there, if you're not sure, at least you can follow the instructions that the AI is giving you. It gives you a basis for you to start understanding your prospect journey, right? Which led and is leading a lot of us to understand, okay, well, if I'm going to market this conversation out, it has to be simple and clear. If I understand what the client is supposed to do next, they will too. Okay. And remember that regardless of what we do in this space, there's 2 things. We want either to create the relationship, the connection, and this is where we offer an exchange, a moral exchange that is always a valued exchange. Anybody in this space remember? Wow, today we were talking time as a resource, time. that we're managing, time that we're offering, right? So this is one of the greatest offer that you can give to somebody. For example, Lori just said, "Hey, I'm working with Tina. She's in the plane, but as soon as she lands, we find time, we get together, we work. Value
And I'm
into that."
and I'm serious. So here's the
Yeah.
thing. You, I know you for years, right? Okay, you and you've helped me through the years. People on here I've seen through the years. I used to be a lot more active, but I live in Maui, Hawaii. Okay, and we had a devastating
Yes.
thing happen. So you helped me get my life back. You helped a lot of other people get their life back. And
Thank you.
this whole thing with the that 2 weeks ago, you really do have to listen to that recording because again and again and again, to watch it 2 or 3 times and listen to it without watching one time. And really, I do this all the time. I'm semi-retired. Find me on Facebook. We're going to be doing sessions. We're going to be doing live sessions and Zooms. And I would love to have other people from NowSite jump on and give tips and tricks during the week. Because a lot of times I'm going, man, I wish, oh, yeah, we just talked about this. Yeah, we listened to Elizabeth in the morning. Melvin, I love Melvin. Melvin is got, each one brings their own insightful talents. And that's what I wanted to say.
Absolutely. Value. Thank you for the share. Everybody respond to that invitation. This is how we grow community. This is how we form bonds. This is how we become a team. Okay. And the there is no limit to this digital space, right? So let's not limit the type of interaction we can take part in, right? So thank you again for the invitation, Lori. Uh, Thank you again for the share. Um, yes, um, very important. I sorry, it was a deep share and it took me a little off guard. Thank you again. So coming back to this again, we want to have at the center of what we do a simple clarity, and if we're not sure, let's start in this space. Remember also, a lot of what we want to offer has a simple path to it. What, who, how. We start with that. We let the AI give us more, but we have to take the time to read it. Simplifying it, I think, is the most important thing that we want to keep in mind. A lot of my meetings sometimes will go into a brainstorming type conversation with the client that I have to ground right away. Why? Because when you're brainstorming, you're not necessarily organizing things in a simple way. Okay. Sometimes for those who have that expertise, you can go into brainstorming sessions, but you're only trying to grab ideas, right? You're not building a strategy in the storm. Okay. So keep it simple. What, who, how. Let me understand what I'm trying to offer so I can explain it to who is it I'm targeting? And based on that, what are the offers? And whatever it is, it starts with that value, time. I'm going to offer you my time so that we can grow together. That I think is the strongest offer. It forces you into a commitment to grow yourself. Simple as that, right? So coming back to the tool, understand the value in this simple process because it also follows through to what Nav is trying to do for you. Based on what you describe, it's going to tell you, okay, well, this is the new consumer acquisition system. And it's a simple step-by-step breakdown of what you should do around that concept. Okay. And if you read through it and it makes sense, then you're on the right path. If you read through it and it sounds a little bit convoluted, then come back to your what? Simplify it. Right? Uh, uh, for me, there are no complex ideas. There's just a lot of simple things stacked together. Right? So that's where everything goes metaphysical, whatnot, because it's all these one plus one. Hey, there you go. this whole conversation that we're having is based in zero and ones, right? And that is the matrix in which this information is built upon, right? And beyond that, we're talking, right? So simplest process or the most complex process starts with the simplest steps. And you have to map out that process. Keep your what targeted, keep your who focused, keep your how in perspective so that the AI can tell you, okay, based on that, this is what you should do. And it's breaking it down to you for you step by step. Same thing with the customer niche, right? Based on who you are targeting, it will give you a niche that allows you at least to understand or to start recognizing who are these four people that I need to talk to when I go out there with the nav to social lead. Simple impact. I was lingering here just to come back to that same thing, that rhythm. Understanding that here at this point, I know that, well, if I'm going to go on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm going to be looking at people that are in that professional bracket with these aspirations. Depending on the level that I want to have of the conversation, then I might look at the way my conversation is led. Make no mistake, often enough, we get into exchanges where we have many tiers of conversation in the same space. We're talking to elite while we're trying to answer questions to ABCers, and we have in people in the middle that are grasping at straws, understanding exactly what is happening, right? This is because we have this space. It's a constructive space, and we can pause and answer, and we always have I'm always trying to level the conversation, not to go too much into crazy details or not too low below the interest that everybody has or the understanding that everybody has, right? So you want to navigate that. But often enough, you will understand when you're talking to elite, there's an elite set of words that will come into the conversation. Backlinks, dislinks, did that, right? And only the one that are in the know will understand that. The other ones will be like, okay, well, it's above me for now, not forever, for now. Okay, I can come back and understand that at my pace. Okay, and later on we'll get to that. But all that again, these backlinks only work. Why? Because the foundational conversations are there. The simple strategy behind the click of that link is there, right? The anchor of that backlink is where we want to go. These assets, they always have to be kept simple, targeted. Okay. So when you're not sure, again, always start here. That will give you that rhythm, right? Keep in mind also that based on the how you intend to lead these conversations, the AI will also give you a main pitch, right? I when AI started, I said, well, people are in a funny relationship with AI. I'm trying to teach AI about me, where it's actually, and I was saying that it's actually the reverse. We were also getting taught by AI to speak to it, right? Understand how it interprets our questions and such. Our work is a lot easier with NowSite. Why? Because we take the time to train our AI. Thus, the My AI onboarding that I put back again. If we're not sure, let's go back there, cross our T's, dot our I's. So we have done the right thing, right? These, when you open your Train My AI, should not be as such. This is me leading by bad example. If you open your Train My AI and you see these blank fields, then you have a job to do. Okay, this gives more voice to your tool so that when you're building strategy with it, it understands you better. Okay, and this is good because it's an interaction. When it gives me something, I have the obligation to read it. Let's not get into the copy and paste and that's it. No, I need to understand what, especially if I am new to this, right? If I am elite, I'll pick up on what is happening here. Not just the conversation, but the call to action. I'll see where, you know what, within this conversation here, if I increase, if this was a text that I would want to start using in specific way, then I would look at these keywords. Okay, website. Well, I might put a hyperlink here and have them click and go see some demo websites, right? Managing emails, I might have them click and go see something. So when you start reading those and understanding what the AI is doing, and you have kept in perspective your own strategy, you start reading behind the line and understanding, well, these are where the conversation should go next, or the call to action should go next. Following everybody? Questions, comment? I'm
Makes sense so far.
I'm staying a lot in the now site today because, I mean, I assume that everybody has been doing the work on social media. So if there were questions on nav and social to lead, you would time in on that. So I'm staying a lot in the platform today because we need to make sure that we cover the use of the tools that we have. That's one of the things that often enough will, um, well, leave me with a pinch in my heart, is that I see that we all have a lot of tools. But when I get you into meetings and I start looking at the tools, I don't see the frenzy in it being used, right? People are not using these tools enough. They're not exploring what NowSite is supposed to do. They're not lining up their strategies or their conversation. Okay. So very important. Go ahead, Audrey. Are you still muted? Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, what you're saying, I love what you're doing here. And I have a couple of questions that maybe not quite where you are right this minute, and
Go
maybe
ahead.
we can address them later. One of the questions I've experienced is from Elizabeth's training when we have reached out using social nav and we have our sales plan, and let's say we reached out and that person replied and we have reached out and connected with them already before we got to the second day of the plan, because the first day typically tells you connect, reach out, and then the second day will tell you, I mean, the second sales plan action will state something to the effect of, now you can introduce what the business thing that you want to talk about. Well, sometimes the process goes quicker than that. Somebody responds right away, we engage, it's really great, and so updating the nav is where I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Elizabeth showed us to go back into the nav up there, right where you're at,
Yeah.
and tell it we please update the sales plan. I've
Exactly.
had a couple, so I want you to just address that for me, because
Yep. We're gonna do
sometimes
that.
yeah, sometimes it says they don't see the client or it's not or something. I don't
Okay.
know.
So it's there might have been a step that was missed in the setup of that conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Because remember, actually, I'm going to do this from scratch because I was following along and I wanted to maybe demonstrate it visually. So we're going to start from scratch. I'm going to go back to my contacts here. I'm going to grab here call. Okay. So when you're going to start technically using nav on somebody, right? You are in this space. So I have her profile here. I'm going to select, for example, now site marketing tool, and I'm going to activate the nav. So at that point, nav, as it is, your icons, wherever they are, will be aware that this Nicole is part of that conversation process. Okay, so I'm just going to let it generate the plan here. Of course, it's following in our natural sales flow. I need to connect, build a rapport, make a presentation, right? Then
Right.
follow up for a meeting, try to close the sale. So NAV is going to give you that basic structure. Why? Because you don't change the ABCs of the alphabets. They are what they are. You can change the format of the human architecture, 2 feet. And so you have to follow that. If changes, which is what is happening, we're moving a lot faster, right? I sent out a connection message and the person is jumping us to a meeting to close the sale. Well, I'm not going to say, wait, you're going too fast. I need to build a rapport. No, no, no. We're going to meet that energy. That's all there is to it, right? So it's taking a little bit of time there. Not sure why. I think it's on my side. But the point is once it's done, when you interact here, same will go. you will start by saying, I usually start by saying, okay, Nav, I am working on this contact. I'll name first and last name so it knows. Because if there's many Bobs in my list, and I'm working with Bob, might cross, right? So identify the person properly. I'm working with this person, first and last name. This is what we've done so far. This is what your sales plan was telling me, updated in a core. In the previous conversation, you will see me even challenging the nav and saying, well, no, it's a little bit too aggressive. Let me, can you redo this and change that process, right? So let it do its thing here. So it's really that. Sorry for the delay here. And we'll see. I think I have maybe too many windows open. Let me just close some of these other windows in the back. That should help free some processing space. Mm. So remember, you're not bound to the sales plan in a sense that this is what the AI is telling you should naturally occur step by step. Now, if the conversation picks up a notch or two, right? I'm available now. Why wait 2 days? Let's meet. We don't say no to that. We meet that interest, right? If the client is enthused, let's go, right? Very important. Sometimes we can create that as well. Like for example, I in our previous conversation, I said that a lot of us tend to shy away from other network marketing affiliate. Oh, they're already in the business. Okay, it means that I don't have to explain the business to them. We can talk about where it makes sense. Money makes sense. The compensation plan. Let me present to you my compensation plan with my product and see how well you can present yours. How well do you profit from yours? Open debate, open opportunities. Go ahead, Arba.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about follow-up that, and it was along with what you were saying, that when someone does schedule a meeting with you or schedules time with you or whatever, and then they don't show, don't get discouraged because I've had many times where that's why you want to get the people, you want to make sure you get the contact information, their phone number or whatever. And I've had many times that I thought it was a no-show, but people are busy and I call them and, I'll say, is everything okay? Are we, no, oh my God. Oh yeah, we're supposed to meet, at this time. Or I'll send them a text message, or something. And so prior to that, I also want to talk about the necessity of using some type of automation. You gotta, once you get that person committing to meeting with you, use some kind of automation to continually send reminders. And then even up until the day of, don't get discouraged. You gotta keep following up.
Absolutely. Well said. Remember, we said about the greatest offer value that we have is time. So should we respect other people's time? Things can happen in life, right? Beyond a commitment, things of life can prevent somebody from showing up. Um, be, be, in, instead of getting discouraged, this is an opportunity, right? If we had a meeting and you stood me up, oh, now you owe me a meeting, right? And I'm gonna say it with a smile. Look, I understand things happen, but you owe me a meeting. Come back when you're ready. No issues happen, right? Let me show you that beyond the business conversation or the intent, beyond the interest, the great value in the interaction is you, the networking bond that we're creating. So come back when you're ready. Maybe that time you'll bring a friend too. Opportunity, right?
But on the other hand, though, it's also about posture in that
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to chase anybody. So, there's an honest mistake or oversight with
Mm-hmm.
standing you up one time, but if you offer again and they don't, posture yourself and don't chase anybody.
Absolutely. That comes down to the follow-up to your conversation, using some form of automation so that you can put that in perspective using the right time in between the follow-up or the reminders, right? Not to pester, but still to stay in perspective to that interest. Remember also, okay, it's taking a little time, but I think we addressed that conversation. What I wanted to say here, remember that it brings us back to these tools. Remember that NowSite is a CRM, right? That contact environment that we provide you allows you to do a lot now. You can store all your contacts. You can separate them in lists, right? But you also, when you have these, sorry, when you have these contacts, you also have the ability to start using the rest of the tools for reminders, rotation, follow-ups, right? So keep that in mind. This is how you manage your relationship. CRM, client relationship management, right? So the tool is here.
Mm.
And you see, it makes a big difference. If I sent out 4 messages today, nobody answered, it's okay. I send out another 4 tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And I put myself on a rotation. By next week, I have about 16 or 12 follow-ups plus the next 4 that I have to send. At one point, that wave will come back because it's cause and effect. Marketing, networking is cause and effect. If you don't do anything, nothing will happen. If you start doing something, something will happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the only thing there. And this, some of you might have heard me say this in my meetings. The only bad marketing is no marketing, no activity. That's why I'm saying, well, we have all these tools, and I'm not seeing the frenzy, right? If I'm not hitting, I'm hammering every day to get that right formula. So you're gonna see these things happening until I get that, and then okay, I'm gonna take out what I don't need, keep what worked, and then start building upon it. So even if I'm not out there, I'm in here just hammering and trying to understand, okay, where is it that I'm falling short of my steps or my conversation or my process? Let alone when I found out a rhythm, then I'm out there, right? And this is why, again, it is the age for serial entrepreneurs. We wake up with the, I should try this formula. Why didn't I ever think about that? I went to this convention and somebody said this. Oof, that was the missing. Let me come back here. Let me sharpen my pencil. Let me draw a new picture, right? Let me outline a new conversation process. And always keep in mind, who are you bringing into this seat? Okay, let's stop. Well, let's keep in mind that our products are diamonds, right? And let's also start looking at the facets of these conversation so that we can really make the person interested in what we offer. If I'm interested in what you're offering, I will be interested in you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if what you're offering shows interest and value to my person, how can I not be interested in myself? Right? So sometimes it's that simple. I came to you because we have the same interest. I want to talk to people about that interest as much as I can. And you are hit. It's an open invitation. Come and join us. Mm, right? It might be a little bit of, oh, last time I had a great conversation around a website, and uh, I'll paint the picture. The client was concerned with one thing. She had a capture page, and people were leaving the wrong information, right? They came to her platform, were leaving the wrong names and fake emails. And we had a session around it, and we were asking ourselves, well, she was asking, how can I restrict this process? How can I make it tougher so that I can control the information that I'm receiving? I said, well, that's one way of thinking it or approaching it. What is the other way? How can you build more trust? Because you obviously have created a lot of interest. I came to your platform, looked at it, and like, I want what you're offering, but it feels like a trap. But I want what you're offering. So I'm going to give you fake information to protect myself. Okay. So the conversation was around how can you build more trust? And we went to the platform, and sure enough, there was no conversation about who was making this offer. There was no clarity about the author or the expertise behind this offer. There was no social media trail to go see if the person that stood behind this offer was active or real. There was no trust in the conversation. Simple thing, right? Whereas we were thinking, or she was thinking, I have to padlock this system so that it's a, yeah, no, it wasn't that the issue. It was your conversation. It was the value that you brought to your offer or the person that stood behind the value that was your offer. Okay, so always think about that. Maybe next time I'll tell you what was the offer, but you nine time out of 10, you have offered the same thing. You have offered the same thing. I invited her to come back, my client to come back, and we'll discuss where she was promoting that to see the success. Right? Because for me, it was a success. People came, noticed your platform, and were like, oh, here. Right? But if you said, here, who I am, and take more, then there was no issue. Go ahead, Audrey.
You made a point. I wanted to ask this question. I was fortunate to come into this system with an incredible team that, just super knowledgeable. And I believe I felt I was an ABCer and they were just what you were saying, the elite. Now that I have a much better grasp of this, of the cycle, the process, connecting the dots, I'm starting to talk to people more about using NowSite. So with that in mind, I have some old, I don't have old. I started back in September. So I have links and things I can share, a demo, but NAV wasn't included. If I like to, I have two people now that want to take a look at what we have to offer. And instead of me just sending them the trial so they can see the social media piece, I wanted to show them more. What can I share with them?
Okay. Well,
Should I just walk them through personally, or is there like an established demo link out there I could share? What would you
well,
recommend?
I would recommend all of the above. Walk them personally through the process so that they can see the bond that you have built with the tool. While you're
Okay.
doing that, you can take them around all the resources, right? And before anything, I will be expecting you and these two people in a meeting on your time, you offering the link saying, hey, come and take advantage of this expert's conversation. Ask the question that might be above me, right? And the first part of the conversation that you'll be having with them will allow you to also sort out certain things. Plus, you need that step as well, right? Because you want to be leading the conversation and you want to pick up
Okay.
on what may note. Remember, when you're doing networking in the field, we'll ask you to go out, we'll ask you to make mistakes, we'll ask you to take notes of those so that you can come back into the lab and hone your skills. I shouldn't ask that question. Oh, when I did that, it led to that conversation, and oof, that was a no-go. Or it did, and that was the green light to get them to support and organize and show the value after service that most company don't have, like NowSite is an asset. Okay, that is important. Assets, right? The how, right? So I recommend use all of them. Use our NowSite tutorial. Have a seat with them. Get to understand a little bit more. Because remember, knowing who you're gonna be catering to allows you already to be prepared. Right? That's the client
Thank you.
discovery part as well. Good.
Excellent. Thank you.
Perfect. I believe at one point you had your hand up, Cynthia, didn't you? Okay. So if ever the question come back. So very important. Again, count your assets. Always think about one of the things that people always forget, again, coming back to that conversation, that value, time. Time is our greatest asset as entrepreneurs. It's the thing that we don't have enough of. We have too much of when it's not converting into money, it's an issue, right? We try to balance time. Time management is where success often enough is found, where we can balance things, right? And it's also what people will be looking for. So, greatest asset to offer, my time, right? And if that is the value that we offer, then how do we get people our time? Email, send me your questions, info lines, send me your text. Sometimes we make it a big deal about, I want to do SMS marketing. Well, if you really want to do SMS marketing, it means that you have a business number. It means that you're really going to be saying to people, hey, if you really want to get in touch with me, here's my business number. Take a direct shot at me. I'm ready. Clarity. I'll pick up the phone. I had experience with people have actually called the number, haven't answered, hung up, and then followed the conversation via SMS. So I just wanted to make sure that there was somebody behind the line and then continue the conversation. They're more comfortable talking via text. But they went and built trust with that number. So sometimes it's that simple. So you want to talk to me? This is how. You want to meet me? This is how. You want to start with me? This is how. You want to book my time? This is how. So all these how around one value, my time, my that asset. And then think about, okay, if I'm doing a workshop, same things. You want to get information about that workshop? This is how. You want to come into this workshop? This is how. You see how I'm simplifying that? And now when you put all that together, that's a complex array of service. You all have this power. I recommend also there's one thing, for example, coming back to go ahead, Arba, and then I'll time in on this.
Yeah, you can complete your thought. I was going to go in a whole different direction.
I was about to say, coming back to the idea of reading what we are receiving from the AI, both in the My Chat and in the business profile, organizing it in a structure that we ourselves can read and follow top to bottom is actually us preparing documents that we will send to people to onboard them. Do you understand the mechanics? No time is wasted when you are doing things like that in sequence, right? I came to the AI for this conversation. I anchored my what, my who, my how. It gave me strategy here. I'm going to take that strategy. I'm going to build basically a process with my chat. From there, I'm going to take notes as I understand the process myself unfolding. And when somebody asks me how to conduct this exercise, I will give them this blueprint, right? For those looking to pass on a system, for those building a system, for those testing a system, this mechanic remains, right? I started by understanding the process. There's many ways of understanding a process. I understood my process in my learning curve because that is what I am, the leader, the mold. I will offer this conversation to people in my likeness, in interest, in levels, right? In skills. So I create this blueprint. I take note of it. Once I have it, I follow it. Once I'm asked, I share it. Okay, so this is the blueprint that we're trying to do. So there's always, again, a flow in what we are doing. Okay, but keeping back to our basics are here. We want to make sure we start here, outline this process. We have taken the time to train our AI. It knows who we are. We're going to build more conversation here, more strategies, outline these points, and then follow. Once we see success, then we happily will share it to people while they are going down this learning curve, repeating this process on their own. It allows you also time to grow more, right? Because again, we never stop growing. We start and we continue the journey to perfection. Go ahead, Ara.
I just messaged you a link if you want to share it, that some training about avatars, because what's important about when you're contacting people is I talk about money and time
Mm-hmm.
and the different types of buyer personas and a description of what they're thinking about. So, it was just very important because I was using that for one of my clients, and it's like the aha went on of you have to talk to people differently depending on where they are on the axes. I wasn't able to do the axes on there. It's
Mm-hmm.
on a slide where I show a time and money. And the thing is that yeah, so right down there, money and time. And so
Where
many
money and
right
time here.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. So there's the four types of buyer personas.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people always say, "Oh, I want to go for people got money. I want to go for people got money." But if you read that there, the people that have money, then sometimes they're the hardest to reach because you got to look at what they value. They value quality and convenience. And so they're interested. Money is not the value. They're looking for, the best kind of products. And many times, like in my case with marketing, they already have a team. So if I come to them and say, "Oh, I can help with your marketing," they're like, "I got a whole team to do that." So that's not what they're interested in. And then money and no time, that's where a lot of the successful entrepreneurs, they built a prosperous business, but it's at the cost of their time. So they're
Mm-hmm.
looking for something that's going to help with their time. So you got to talk in those terms of, I've got something that will give you back your time. They're already successful, but they have no time. And then the no money but time. A lot of time where my opportunity, I'll say where I'm doing good in business is
Mm-hmm.
it's when I say no money, it's not that somebody doesn't have any no money. I mean, you don't want to deal with the no money, the broke, I can't even
I,
pay my
I
rent.
like I
Right.
like I like
But
how you're presenting it. I want to time in, however, because I want to
mhm,
change. I want to change one of those words, value, the value in time, right? The value in time. Everything else that you had there was a great presentation around that concept, value and time. That makes it all around what we are offering, what people are trying to receive, what people are trying to make of their life. Have more value for my time.
I like that because I did not like money. I was
Exactly.
struggling. I was struggling with that, and I was trying to figure out. I do like that. See, that's why I
Yeah.
like coming here, to
That's
share.
why you saw me a little bit squirming in my seat. I
Oh,
understand the power of money, but the greatest thing that we have to offer to people is value. And I think that is where let's balance that before we go. Money can't buy love. That's one of the greatest conversation, right? So you got that money, but the value of love you can't get. This is also why, for example, as a leader, what we tend to do is rise to a level where we want to give back value to the people that we've built our success with. And notice I was careful not to see on, right? You don't build success on people. That is a basis of a revolution or stability, right? Community, you build it with people, right? And this is where the solid uh, or the greatest company have established their network of client, of partners, of whoever is firmly attached to that environment, right? This is why some people get so up in arms when IPs are changing the way. No, we grew up on this. They can't do this, right? It's we build that value, that bond. It goes beyond, right? And this is ultimately what you want to offer: that value, that time. right? And after that, we're in those, again, the quadrant, right? People are even making a trade for their time, for an employer to give value to that time. And with that value, they can build a life, a system based on that. We in this field, in this space, are in the next quadrant. We can't, that value, that time, that freedom is one of the legs that we want to stand on, right? And this is so important in the conversation to come, because this is where people technically in this space want to have this conversation, right? I found a way to give more value to my time. Are you interested in knowing how? What you do with it, of this knowledge, is yours, right? As I'm doing it with mine. I invite you to stay with me in this space. Let's run this course, right? Remember last time I said this is the greatest school of all time. You come here to build yourself professionally, personally. You meet with your peers in a positive environment. You can start things at low cost and build momentum with it. The future is yours to build, right? If you start early, you start late, depending on the passion that you invest, you see the result that you get, right? This is what it is. This value. After that, I mean, talk about real estate, let's talk about that. But at the core, the foundation is that, right? I have this need, I have this drive. I want to move from one sector of the other, right? The greatest, and coming back to the value of a client, the monetary value or whatnot, you are right as well. Okay, if I took a lifetime of effort to build my wealth, it's no longer products that I'm purchasing. It's a service. I intend to be treated as such. Right. So yes, we're going to give more service to high ticket value, because guess what? It's also the trade. I'm not going to work uh, all year long to sell 10 products. I want to sell this one product and sit for the rest of the week. Okay. But it means that I'm going to invest time, knowledge, service approach, standard to meet that client's expectation and sell. I'm going to understand the process as well. Quality, quantity, right? We're going to balance that. It's a service that and again, big or small money, for me, every client is gold. Why? Because I value your business. I value your time, right? And that's it. So once you do that, you know how to scale your conversation, your expectation, and manage all that as well. Okay. This is very important. For example, if we're looking at business owners, I always often enough ask that conversation. Okay, we're looking at business owners. My question would be, which industry? Why? Because depending on the industry, the business owner, sizes, employee, network, department will change. Thus, trying to talk to the business owner won't be necessarily the first go-to. I need to talk to the representative within that structure that has access to that conversation piece with the boss. I think, remember last time we spoke about that with Keisha. How do I target a business? Well, I don't target a business. I target the person within the business structure responsible of the conversation interest that I'm pursuing, right? So employee benefits, HR, that person, right?
Gatekeepers is what we call them, brother. Gatekeepers.
Yes, the gatekeepers, right? Well, it's it's the person, it's the man in charge of that conversation, right? It's his function. Gatekeeper is a little negative, like, oh, he won't let you pass. No, he's gonna let you pass if you have the right conversation.
Hey, I gotta
Otherwise,
take some pride in
otherwise he
that
will
thing.
tell you go to the next spot. This is where you should be going. Thank you, sir. I was a little lost. I should be going that way. So no gatekeepers. There are guides. Go ahead. Question somebody said. It's true. After all, if there is a gate, it means that once you go in, you can't come out. That's not freedom. That's not what we're looking for here, is it?
No.
Right? No. So, no, there is an entry point. There's a guide. And are we in the right direction? Okay, perfect. What is the protocol here? Right? And remember, this is important. Often enough, we're like, oh, I wish I had this guy's connection. I wonder how he started. Well, he started talking to the guy who told him to go there, and he made friends with him. And this guy told him to go there, to talk to this person. And at the end of that journey, he had all this repertoire of people he could call. And then he repeated that over and over and over and over and over again. And at one point, he ended up with this booklet of contact that is worth gold. When you say, hey, he said, yeah, I met this guy once. Yeah, let me give him a call. You know everybody. Why are you so friendly? Well, it's my job. I have to network. I have to find out who I need to talk to so I can offer my services properly. So again, let's not forget that part of what we're doing in this space. It all comes down to that now. The tool will do the marketing. If we don't know, it will let us know what to do. Now it's up to us to go out there and start doing it, acknowledging these things. If we're not sure, let's gang up, pair up, right? So that we can learn as we grow. Oh, I did this, it didn't work. Yeah, don't try that. Great, thanks. Oh, you sent, and peer assessment. I'm about to roll this out. Tell me what you think. Give me an honest opinion. Be harsh. So that tomorrow when you send yours back, well, you know what you're gonna get. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be harsh. Tough love. Right? But this is where we start challenging each other. Right?
Well, that's
I
what you
used to
did
play.
for me. That that and I appreciate it. That's, because it was something I wasn't feeling too confident with how I was presenting it, and you helped to clarify that. Iron sharpens iron.
Pleasure. And everybody shared in that. I think we all resonated in the end with your idea, value, and time. On that note, we're at the end of our time today, but there is more tomorrow. There was not enough questions. There was a lot of me talking. It means that tomorrow there's going to be a lot of questions about what we've been doing or a lot of shares, right? I want to see conversation, or at least, okay, the client said that. I wasn't sure what to say. I tried it with Nav. He says that we're in limbo. Let's try to see where this conversation could go. Right? Let's try to see if we can start anticipating conversation or network. Anybody here likes to play board games like chess or something like that? Yeah, I recommend you guys, let's all get on a chess app and start playing chess. Why? Because conversation happens just like a game of chess, right? If I can have 10 move before you move and I understand where you're going to go, then I can predict your cues and have my A's ready, right? So that's what we're going to start doing here. Even if we're not great chess games, at least that mechanic about what is he going to do next? And what he's going to do next after that. I'm a bad chess player, by the way, but I like that challenge, going up against the Goliath and getting my pride handed back to me. But that challenges opens up some, because like, what is he going to do next? I know he's going to do something crazy. I'm not prepared for this, right? So go up against these conversation approach, understanding, okay, well, because that allows you to also outline the strategy for the conversation. I'm going to go in, I'm going to say this. Most likely they're going to have this as an answer, or they're going to be, the last 10 clients ask me the same question, so it's going to go that way. So you see that process starts lining up, okay? And sometimes you put yourself into the client seat. What if I said that and the client said this? How would I counter that? Ask yourself these questions, because this is you testing your conversation once it starts happening.
In acting, that's called improvisation.
Yes. Thank you. Improv. A lot of improv, guys. Okay. Or not even improv. Let's go out there and try it in the real world and come back and say, well, I just went into the fire and came out, got a little bit of burn. Let's adjust.
That's
Right. And that's what we learned twice. right? Once Vern, twice as shy, and at the same time, even more informed on what not to do next time. Sometimes I
That's it.
start rhyming and stuff. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, it's always love. Keep
Bye.
coming, sharing. I'll try to get this streamed out at one point so that we can grow this community and see whatever happened will happen. We'll see. Que será, será. Have a good day and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Thank you so much.